站在高端，走进高端，面对高端。高端访问栏目由张裕集团我的选择张裕洁百纳干红葡萄酒赞助播出。
In Asia, there's about, for every dollar business we do, our partners do about $12.
I hope I wasn't asked to be on the panel simply to represent the country with the lowest growth rate and the greatest trade deficit.
Nice to see you. This is our crew. It's the elite crew, what we call elite crew. Yeah. Okay. Here.
Since we met last time, the Chinese economy has just made a tremendous achievement, and everybody, including a lot of people from the West, are talking about China's economy. I would like to hear from you. What is your evaluation of the Chinese economy, including the Chinese IT industry?
Well, China's doing an incredible job, and that's to the benefit of the entire world, whether it's becoming a big market to buy products of all types, software, planes, anything, or itself not only producing very low-priced, but also very innovative products more and more. China's making a contribution. It's fantastic how the government has managed to keep the economy on track, going very well. It's not easy to do. You've got to get the infrastructure right. You have to make investments in education, which is very important. You have to think about the equity issues that this new government has particularly prioritized that, and we have a lot of joint projects having to do with rural computing that are driven by that priority of the government that we certainly share. It's a phenomenal story, and when I come back, I see it in more than just numeric terms. I see Beijing that, everybody used to say it's the city of bicycles. Well, there's still bicycles, but it's more of the city of new buildings. And of course, I'll be back for the Olympics as well. Yes, I'll be bringing my family and come to quite a bit of the Olympics, and bring my friend Warren Buffett along. So it'll be a fun time.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I get to look around a little bit more than I do on a business trip.
Which team will you cheer?
Well, in table tennis, I'm betting on the Chinese.
Maybe in basketball,
Basketball, I put my money on the U.S.
Okay. During the past several decades, I would say, everything seems to be very perfect for you. And you have the Microsoft, and now have the Vista, and also you have the foundation. You're moving a little bit to charity courses. If I ask you at this time, how do you evaluate your role or your contribution to this era of our time?
Well, I've been incredibly lucky to have a chance to be part of the creation of the personal computer, which is an unbelievable tool and doing great things, but only at the beginning of what it can do. The power of the hardware, the software, bringing the cost down. You know, the years ahead, we can go a lot further, connect up the next several billion people and make it more powerful. So I feel great that I got a chance to create one of the key companies and really fund a lot of research that will keep the field very strong. I'm also very lucky that the wealth that created allows me to have a foundation that's going to take on some of the tough health challenges that, because these diseases of poor people have not been worked on, that we haven't done what really should be done for malaria or childhood diseases or AIDS. And now I've assembled an equally brilliant team in this area and really giving them encouragement. So, you know, I feel so privileged, and I have a responsibility to do my best and make sure the wealth is given back in a way that has the best impact.
退学32年后，比尔盖茨终将获得哈佛大学荣誉学位。
If I'd known I was only going to be there 3 years, I could have done my degree requirement.
另类成功之路引人瞩目，下一个比尔盖茨是否会出现在中国？
Whether it's in software, in medicine, so many fields, the opportunities are greater than ever before.
如果没有30多年前信息时代来临所带来的机遇，也许成就不了今天的比尔盖茨。但面对机遇，更需要他表现出的果断决绝。因此，比尔盖茨32年前放弃名校，辍学哈佛，成为了他诸多传奇中最为人称道的故事。而这一离开，也让比尔盖茨完成了从大学学生到商界精英人生抉择的重大改变。然而，最近消息传来，6月，哈佛大学将要授予比尔盖茨荣誉学位。32年，比尔盖茨终将毕业。32年，一个学生的悠长假期，生命就这样进行着奇妙的轮回。
Well, just a few days ago in Tsinghua University, you got the honorary doctorate, and also reports indicated. Actually, you said yourself that Harvard is going to give you the honorary degree. Is it too late?
Well, Harvard did great things for me, and I'm looking forward to going back and giving a commencement talk there as part of the degree ceremony. Harvard is where I met Steve Ballmer, who joined Microsoft and became the CEO, and I learned a lot there. I didn't finish my studies because the time to get in at the beginning was such that I didn't feel I could stay. But I have nothing but positive feelings about the time I spent there.
32 years ago, when you dropped out from Harvard, why did you decide to do so, to drop out? Did you find anything?
Well, my friend Paul Allen and I had been following all of the computer developments because we were nuts about using computers literally when I was 13. And we saw this idea of putting a computer onto a chip. And we realized that that would dramatically change how computing would be used, going from a tool of just big organizations to an individual tool. And so he and I had been talking about that for many years. He actually came back to where I was on the East Coast and took a job so he and I could brainstorm. And when we saw the first kit computer that people could buy inexpensively, we decided we wanted to be there from the very start and write what was called BASIC. And so we called up the company and agreed to go out and work with them.
Bill was somebody who was always very determined to do what he was interested in doing. The things that he was less interested in, which often included his academic classes, he tended simply to coast and get by on talent. Remember, there was a course in Introduction to Greek Literature where he'd really done, as best as I could tell, none of the work during the year. Stayed up all night the night before the exam, slept through part of the exam, and still got a B.
He was always very focused on whatever it was that he was doing. He could come into his room, not get undressed, just kind of lie down on his bed, which of course would be not made because he'd never had time for that, and just fall asleep. Door open, fully clothed, lie down, sleep, and then when he's refreshed, boom, back up at it, and whatever the next thing was.
We told him that we'd put some money aside for him to attend school, and if he didn't finish in a few years, we'd have to make some other use of those funds. By that time, he allowed us out. That would be okay. He'd probably be able to afford to go back if and when the time came.
You know, I certainly believe that finishing college is a good thing.
You set a kind of example for millions of young people, especially students who are now in the universities and in colleges, and they would say, jokingly say, "Look, Bill dropped out from Harvard, so we can follow his example."
Well, I'd encourage people to finish their education. Unless there's something that's so compelling and so time sensitive, it's really a lot better to go through your whole education. I actually was at Harvard a total of 3 years by the time it was all done, and that was great for me.
So you only have 1 year left to finish Harvard.
Yeah, actually, I had enough advanced placement that it was even less than that. If I'd known I was only going to be there 3 years, I could have done my degree requirements. But of course, that hasn't really held me back in any way.
So you're now grateful that Harvard can give you a honorary degree.
Well, that'll be a fun event. It'll be the 30 years after I would have graduated.
So I would say that's a good news, a little bit late.
Yeah, it'll be fun to be back there.
Okay. So, Bill, there's actually, before this interview, we had some, posted a kind of announcement on the website, and it's just hot. There's so many people. I guess it's more than 12 million who watch the news about you on Chinese websites.
Wow.
They offered over 5,000 questions. It's a pity we don't have enough time today, but we will pick a little bit accordingly in
Super.
my question. One, like this. They ask you, will there be a Bill Gates in China in the future? What do you think?
Well, today I had a chance to meet with some of the young Chinese entrepreneurs, people like Jack Ma, who did Alibaba, and many others, and I was quite impressed with them. So you already have a new generation of risk takers who are building companies, and there'll be more and more of those, whether it's in software, in medicine, so many fields. The opportunities are greater than ever before.
在信息技术领域里，人们追逐想象力、行动力，而很多事情在别人想清楚之前，比尔盖茨已经开始做了。
Bill Gates.
在他离开哈佛，一头扎进个人计算机软件领域，创建微软公司后，就为这个企业和他自己设定了人生的第一个梦想。他要让每个家庭的每张书桌上都摆有电脑。比尔盖茨说：“这是我人生的第一个梦想，而这个梦想今天已经实现。”
I guess, actually, a lot of people now are calling Microsoft as an empire. And it's really, a phenomenal miracle for Microsoft to be as it is today. Tell me, why do you think it is Microsoft who can win out beating everybody and being as a kind of empire today.
Microsoft started out with the idea that software was important and that we would hire the best software people and really dedicate ourselves to building a software platform that enabled other people's success. Now, for every dollar of revenue Microsoft gets, over $10 goes to our local partners in China. And those are software companies, consulting companies, hardware companies. And so we built an ecosystem around Windows that has led to such a variety of great solutions. And as we feed the success of those partners, that in turn has helped us to do very well. As we've grown, we've even gotten the opportunity to do basic research. And so our lab here in China has been phenomenal, whether it's graphics or ink or speech or security. They're doing amazing work that is allowing what we expect of software, the ease of use, the richness, to move to the next level. And so Microsoft is in a very competitive business. It keeps us sharp. And every year there's someone who comes along where people say, how will Microsoft do? Competing with IBM in the past.
Today I'm talking about Google.
Yes, Google is the latest hot company, doing great work, and everybody's saying, well, isn't this a fun competition, which will force both companies to innovate very rapidly. We'll do something better in search, then maybe they'll try and top that. And so the competition is great for the end users.
So you think Microsoft will survive and will, let's say, win out in the fierce competition in the future?
In the software industry, there's room for literally hundreds of thousands of successes, particularly given our model where we do the base platform and we let others come in and do these other pieces. And so, yes, this will be a growing part of the economy. I can't guarantee Microsoft's success, but we are investing in people, which has been key to our success throughout our history. In every country we're in, we sit down and try to understand the particular needs and requirements in that market. Here in China, it took us many years to support the Chinese language the way we should, to understand the distribution. But because we started so early, we've been able to learn, and we keep getting better at that. And so we have to invest. We have to take a long-term point of view. We have to make sure the partnerships where people build on what we do, that those are very strong. And so there's no guarantees, but we're doing our best. We're investing at record levels. And, I love the energy and the talent we've been able to pull together.
品酒犹如艺术品鉴赏，依赖的是独特眼光，更多的是生活品味。张裕结百纳刚红葡萄酒，跨越百年时空，酝酿世纪感动。我的选择，张裕结百纳刚红葡萄酒。世界首富比尔盖茨淡出微软，倾100亿资产投入慈善。转变角色后的比尔盖茨5年来首次面对中国电视媒体接受高端访问专访。影响人类生活的成功偶像，数千网民向盖茨发问，听比尔盖茨如何回答。
I certainly believe that finishing college is a good thing.
看世界首富敞开心灵视窗，讲述人生角色重大转变。高端访问周日播出，敬请收看。 近乎完美的成功之路，比尔盖茨是否也有过不为人知的挫折感？
I've made many, many mistakes.
来自外界的严厉批评，他又将如何应对？
Some of them are just jealous.
When I checked you, study all the reports, materials, biographies about you, it seems to me that not much is mentioned about, let's say, frustrations that you came across. Audience from the West, they say, does Bill have any problem? I mean, difficulty or frustration? Since you are a perfect person.
No, not in any way. And I think there's been a lot of nice things written about me, some, overly nice, and there's been a lot of negative things written, and some of them go too far. There's often at the core of those, though, there's a legitimate criticism. Has Microsoft made computers as easy to use as we should? Could we do better at that? And that really
and cheaper, maybe. Yeah.
Well, cheaper, yes, but the software is the small part. What we have to do is get the communications cost down and the hardware cost down, the training cost down. When it comes to very price-sensitive things like where the government's buying the computers, we actually make the software available for a tiny cost. We just announced a package for $3 for where the government's giving the computer to students. So we try not to let that be a barrier. And we're very sort of high-volume, low-price oriented in the things that we do. Microsoft, I've made many, many mistakes. Certainly, as we got involved in some of our legal issues, I look back and realize that we could have been smarter about that and handled that in a better way. And I think the one thing I will say is that most of the mistakes that I and Microsoft have been involved in, we've been able to learn from those mistakes. And that's not always easy, but it's a very important capability to continue to have the optimism and the energy, bring in whatever new talent you need to bring in and go after the problem.
That's part of good life.
Yep, that's part of the...
How about some of the overly criticized comments about you? You take that?
Some of those criticisms have at their core something that's legitimate that I should think about and try to do better on them. Some of them are just jealous, and I've been lucky enough that being jealous is a natural thing. It's a responsibility for me to live up to the position that I find myself in. Hopefully, setting an example in business in terms of how Microsoft gives back, and also myself through my foundation, how I'm able to give back to the people who need it the most.
I guess this is the reason why you once told in an interview, said being in the spotlight is a corrupting thing. Being successful is a corrupting thing. And having lots of money is a corrupting thing.
Well, that's right. All of those things can make you lazy. They can make you think you know the answers. They can make you think you're smarter than other people, and that often leads to some huge mistakes. In our business, the great companies in our industry when I grew up were weighing and digital equipment. And both of them essentially went out of business because they missed a turn in the industry. And they were great companies, but somehow their success, as they got larger, they missed the changes they would have to make. Even IBM, that's the largest, has missed many key things. You realize this is an industry that's going to be fun because those changes come, but it's not, nobody has a guaranteed position. You always have to be learning new things, bringing in new skills. The internet is bringing things to a whole new level right now, and we're loving the fact that we get to lead the way on a lot of those things.
You got to be first lucky and then tough.
Well, I don't know if it's tough. Hardworking, self-critical. In that sense, yes.
on top of the list? No surprise, it is Bill Gates. Bill Gates.
You are the richest man in the world. It's interesting to find a report saying that still, you lead a very simple life. Hamburger is still your favorite.
I get cheese on it now. I can afford it.
Yeah. I remember last time I asked you, how do you, look at money, billions of money, and you told me they are just the numbers to you. A lot of questions ask about how do you look at money, wealth. Is it something for you, the power to do more, to contribute to the human society, or it's a kind of to some extent a kind of a burden?
Well, achieving some level of wealth is very comforting to know that in terms of paying for my kids' education or a nice vacation, I never have to worry about that, and that's a huge privilege. But it's actually still a pretty small percentage of the people in the world get to not have that concern. And it's a very nice thing that lets me focus on learning and doing my job. The wealth I have that goes well beyond that is what will go to the foundation. And so the foundation should be able to make many breakthroughs in terms of treating all lives as being equal by taking these diseases that are really only in the poor countries and coming up with vaccines or drugs that can eliminate the millions of deaths that are still caused by those. And it's tragic that there was no focus on that, but that's a bit the unique thing that I found. And it's very similar to software development in terms of risk and bringing in smart people and thinking long term. And so I've assembled a group that feels very good that will have a large impact. So basically, wealth, any wealth above, certainly above $1 million, creates a responsibility to give back, I think.
Indeed, actually, recent years people find that you turn more energy to more, let's say, social affairs like philanthropy, the charity courses, and you showed your will to the public in saying that you will only leave a small number of money to your children, but put majority of your wealth to the foundation, to philanthropic things like that. What made you to do this kind of transformation, I would say?
Well, it's not really a transformation. The Microsoft slogan from the very beginning was a computer on every desk and in every home. That's not just rich homes or rich countries. It was really to empower everybody. And we're a long ways from achieving that. So this idea of digital inclusion, whether it's older people or rural people or poor people or handicapped people, that's always been part of our why we're so excited about what software can do. And I get very energized when I go out and I see blind people browsing the internet using our software, which really changed their life. When I go to these community learning centers that we've done in China for migrant workers to come in and learn new skills and stay online, be in touch, it really renews my excitement about how IT speaks to basic needs. And so Microsoft has always had that. It is a big change that in the middle of next year, people like Craig Mundy will take over my full-time responsibilities, and I'll be full-time on the foundation. Still very involved in Microsoft, still the chairman, but a real shift towards the foundation work. And we announced that about a year ago, and in some ways, I don't know how that will feel, but that decision came as I saw that really making sure the foundation did its work well could use more of my time.
China, we have this kind of philosophy saying when a man is over 50, he knows his destiny. And usually at this time, he will change a little bit to more philosophical or more destinal, thinking or actions. And I also noted that actually recently, especially during this trip in China, you mentioned several times on different occasions the idea of responsibility, social responsibility or company responsibility, things like that. Can you elaborate?
Well, a company, when it brings together great people, it helps to have a purpose that's, yes, it includes profitable growth, but it's beyond that. And for the Microsoft employees, it's about the magic of software, how it empowers people. And so by doing projects like these community centers or teacher training, we energize our employees. We're able to attract people who want to be part of what we're enabling. And so it's more than just numbers. And so we all benefit from that. We think it's important. And we have partners in each country. We sit down with the government, talk about what their priorities are and how we can fit into that. In China, it's actually quite structured, where the different ministries are, particularly MII and NDRC, are coming up with goals that they'd like us to achieve. Some are more just economic development. Some are how we get involved with education and some of these more equity and social type things. And that is fantastic. We engage in that with a lot of excitement.
Will the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation pay more attention to China?
The foundation has already done several grants in China for vaccination, like hepatitis B, some looking at the overall health status. We're in the process of putting together a plan for a pretty significant grant related to AIDS prevention, and a lot of good discussion with the government about that. So the foundation is more active here.
竞选总统还是上太空，比尔盖茨未来的生活招来无数揣测。
I've decided to prioritize financially is the work of the foundation.
功成名就，这是否就是他人生的终极目标？
We all have dreams that are unfulfilled.
从另类学生到商界奇才，从世界首富到慈善大使，比尔盖茨在一步步完成人生角色的转变和提升。要让那个摆在实验室里叫做计算机的大家伙摆上每个人的书桌，这是他创业伊始的梦想。而 Windows 系统又为更多人开启了实现梦想的时光。比尔盖茨退出微软的日常管理，意味着微软时代的结束，还是另一个辉煌？未来总是因为它的未知而值得我们期待。
So, Bill, there's a few very brief questions from the audience. One is suggesting that since you are so successful, would it be a good idea that you can run for the U.S. president?
Well, I'm often asked about that, and I'm very clear that I don't see any case where I'd ever run for any political office. I feel that between the work I'll continue to do at Microsoft and the work at the foundation, that's my greatest contribution. Now, because the foundation works on health and education, I will be spending a lot of time with government officials around the world because the governments play such a central role in those things. But I myself, I don't think I'd be very good at the political piece, and I don't think it's the best use of my abilities. So basically, no.
So also you denied that the reports as rumors saying that you would be interested to go to the outer space.
Yeah, I guess that was discussed. I mean, I think it's impressive that people can do it. My friend Charles Simoni was up and
you talked with him, right?
I talked and exchanged email. He's a great person, and but I don't see myself putting the time into that. It's quite intensive in terms of the training and all of that. And what I've decided to prioritize financially is the work of the foundation.
Okay, here's a very interesting question. Someone called your fan. She said, "Is the present life your life you always wanted? Have you realized all your dreams?"
Well, certainly we all have dreams that are unfulfilled. For example, my kids are very young, and I have dreams about how they'll develop and that that they'll do well and be healthy, be happy. I have dreams about Microsoft's continued success or the foundation's ability to cure various diseases. I'm an optimistic person, so what I'm hoping to achieve, maybe not all of that will be possible, but I think by being optimistic, it allows me to take on very ambitious goals.